back to our channel. It's good to have you here once again. Today I have a sad news to share. So I got denied the US visa. Yes, I got denied, and I'm going to take you through what happened, and probably also, if you've had this experience, you can comment in the comment section if you ever got denied the visa. Now, for your information, I have the green book. This is the passport of my country. For those of you who don't know, I'm originally from Ghana, and usually for Ghanaian passport, for most of the countries, you need to apply for a visa, right? So I got the opportunity to attend a forum in New York. So I decided to give it a shot, right, to apply for the United States of American visa, because obviously I need a visa to go. So I put together my document. I went online to do the necessary research, gathered the necessary documents that I needed. I was very confident because as of when I was applying, I had a travel experience. So I told myself that, well, I think I have everything that's required to get this visa, right? So the day came scheduled for the interview appointment. Went through the security checks at the embassy. There was a very long queue. I was quite nervous because I could see if you've been to the United States of American embassy, you could clearly see when someone else before you is going for their interview, and if they get denied, you get to see it, right? So my heart was beating. I was like, okay, well, let's hope for the best. I hope I don't end up being denied like the others, because several of the people who were before me were denied. So when it got to my turn, the interviewer who interviewed me, a very interesting lady, she seemed all smiley on the face, and I was like, okay, maybe this is a good sign I'm going to get a visa. So we went through the process. She asked me what was the purpose of my trip. I told her I was attending a firm. The firm was supposed to last for almost a week. She took a look at the documents that I brought in. She asked me what this forum was about and why I am attending, what do I do, blah blah blah, and I answered all those questions. And then the moment of truth came. She took my bank statement, and all she could say was that, I'm sorry, I cannot issue your visa at this moment because you don't have sufficient funds to sponsor your trip to New York. That was very heartbreaking, guys. So according to this lady, New York is so expensive. I don't know how much she was expecting me to have in my bank account. I thought I had enough. Of course, I had enough to actually cover the trip. But she said, well, we think you need a much stronger financial statement, so you can go get a sponsor or something and come back and apply. It was very heartbreaking. I was given that white paper telling me the reason why I was denied, and I went back home quite sad and disappointed. But hey guys, that wasn't the end of life, right? It was my very first time ever being rejected a visa. On the other hand, I felt like, well, this is the end of the world, but I was like, hey, I mean, if I don't get to go to the United States now, maybe I can some other day, right? So that was the sad part. If you've ever had the experience of being denied a visa, you can comment in the comments box. Let's get to hear your experience of visa denial. Yeah, I know it's not pleasant. Myself, I didn't take it so lightly. But the good news is this actually happened in 2015 when I was still a student on campus back in Ghana. So this application happened in Ghana. And by the way, applying for a US visa in Ghana is very competitive. So when I moved out of Ghana and relocated to Europe, once again the opportunity came up to go for another forum in the United States. And I was like, okay, maybe we can give it a shot once again. I was a bit nervous because of the previous experience, but this time I made sure that I had everything right. So all the necessary supporting documents that you could think about, letter from my employer, my bank statement. I actually had to attach 2 of my bank statements. You know, I took my residency card copy. I had my address card. I had a contract from my landlord, and every necessary document you can think about just to prove that this time I'm ready. So the day came for me to go for the interview, a bit nervous as usual. And when it got to my turn this time I was actually interviewed by a man. He took my passport and he asked me, which part of Ghana are you from? I told him I'm from Accra. And he was like, oh, Accra, such a beautiful city. And I asked him if he's ever been to Accra. And he was like, well, yeah, I used to work in Lomé. So at that point, there was some form of like a bonding because he's been to my country and we could just talk for a few seconds about Ghana and Accra in general. And there the questions started coming in. So he asked what I was doing here, where I live, where do I work, what exactly is my job role. Usually, if I mention my job role to people, especially for those who are not in the IT area, I usually need to explain what I do because it's not so common for people who are outside of the IT area to get to know about this role, right? So I told him briefly, I went straight to the point. And guys, that's one thing that you need to know, that never beat about the bush. If they ask you a question, make sure that you are going straight to the point. So I went straight to the point, what I was doing here. He asked how long I've been living here. I told him, and he asked how long I was going to stay in the United States. I told him how long I was going to stay, and he was like, congratulations, your visa has been approved. Have a nice trip to the US. Oh my God, I was like, this is it. Now the time came, the visa was approved. He told me that they are gonna contact me via email once my passport is ready to be picked up. And guys, one thing for those of you who have applied for a US visa, or for those of you who are yet to, the visa application form in itself is like an interview. They ask a lot of questions, and make sure that you are being truthful on your visa application form. So one thing I recalled while I was filling the form the second time, there was a section that asked if you've ever been denied a US visa. If you've been denied, be truthful, because if you lie on the form, they can verify and that could go against you, right? So I clearly stated that I've been denied before. It's like, well, I've been denied before, so if I get denied a second time, then what happens? Maybe I'm not meant to ever visit the United States, right? So this time I got the visa. I left the embassy, went back to work, and about 3 to 4 hours of the time when I had my interview, I got an SMS that my passport is ready to be picked up by the courier service. Wow, this is very fast. Actually, this is one of the visas I ever applied for that, you know, I actually got called that your visa is ready, like within a day your passport is ready for pickup, right? So the courier service went to pick it up the same day, and then the next day I received my passport with my visa, and guess what? I had a 5-year stamp. So my visa is still valid. I actually got to visit the US. Actually, this approval happened in the year 2018, so this was 2 years ago. So I got approved. I had a 5 years visa, and for the first time I got the opportunity to visit the United States in 2019 in April. Well, I was able to travel as much. I didn't spend so much time. I was there just for 2 weeks, but I was able to visit 6 states. So it was like this. So I flew to New Jersey. I spent 1 day in New Jersey and then went to New York. Spent about 9 hours in New York because my connecting flight from New York to Denver was somewhere in the evening. I actually booked this on purpose so I can have enough time to explore New York. I'll probably do a separate video depending on your request. I'll do a separate video about my experience in the United States. So from New Jersey to New York, I explored New York, went to all the fun places, and then flew from New York to Denver. Stayed in Denver for a week, toured around Denver, you know, all the fun places you can think about in Colorado in general. And then I flew all the way from Denver to Massachusetts. In Massachusetts, I was in Webster. Webster is a suburb in Worcester. So for those of you who know that area well, yeah. So also while I was there, I got to visit other neighboring states. I was in Rhode Island. I was also in other other states around, and it was a very fun experience. So as I said, if you want to see that part of my time in the US, I will make a separate video, show you some of the fun places I visited and some of the fun things I did. So lessons learned is that you should make sure that when you are applying for your visa, you have all the necessary support documents. Your financial statement is something that they pay critical attention to. Not just that, but it's one of the things, right? So you should make sure that whoever is sponsoring you, if it's your own bank statement or if it's a sponsor, they have enough money to prove that you are going to go back. Also, during the interview, you need to prove yourself, right? You need to prove yourself to the consular that, well, I'm only going for the purpose which I'm applying to go, and I'm gonna come back as I intended, because obviously the US embassy doesn't trust most people that when they go they are gonna come back, especially if you have a green book like mine. So this was my experience. It was ever my first time of being denied a visa, and I hope it's gonna be the last time. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I would like to urge you to subscribe, share, and like. And in subsequent videos, I'm going to show you how my experience in the United States was. Thank you.